guys, this is Courtney from Willows Bloom, and today I'm going to talk to you about what is going on in the astrology for September. And I'm super excited to chat with you guys about this and go over it for all of the signs. It's probably going to take me a second. It's my first video doing this for all of the signs for the whole month. So I'm just trying to find my footing and see how I can do it in the most timely way possible. Okay, so before I get started, I just wanted to let you guys know I'm not going to really be talking about the moons this month because I will still come out with my new and full moon videos for all the signs. So I'm going to go over that in explicit detail. Explicit? Is that the right word? I feel like that's not the right word. I'm going to go over it in detail in the other videos, so let's not harp on it here. Okay. So let's go ahead and start off with Aries Rising. Before I hop in, I just wanted to let you guys know that if you're interested in learning about astrology, we have a membership called the North Node Society where you can learn astrology for super cheap and be a part of a community with a lot of other content and a lot of other things that can help you out on your path to finding your purpose. And we have live calls for that every single week, and it's such a beautiful community, so I hope that you come check it out, and the link is in the description box below. Okay, let's go ahead and start off with Aries Rising. So for you guys, you're going to have the sun, well, for everyone, we're all going to have the sun starting off the month in Virgo, which is going to be in your 6th house. So how I'm going to do this breakdown is by the planets. So I'm going to kind of talk about what each planet means and what's going to be happening with that planet through the course of the month. And so the dates are kind of going to be everywhere. It's not going to be happening chronologically with all the planets at once. I'm going to take each planet chronologically and then the next planet chronologically. So you'll see that the dates are kind of hopping back and forth in that sense. Okay, so you guys are starting off the month with your sun in Virgo. Everyone is. And which for you guys is in the 6th house. And it's going to move into your 7th house on the 22nd and it's going to move into Libra on that date. So having your sun in the 6th house is a heavy concentration on your daily routines and trying to achieve some sense of perfection in your life. Trying to find a balance, trying to create order out of chaos. That's a normal Virgo topic. So this could be you trying to figure out what is the ideal schedule for myself, or how can I best, be productive or efficient in my work routine. And I think that any changes that are coming to mind are going to be possible around the 6th of the month because the sun is going to make a trine to Uranus on this date. So Uranus is a planet that helps us get unstuck. So if you have been kind of trying to implement changes or you're not sure about how to create changes around your work, around your efficiency, around creating order, this trine with Uranus is basically giving you guys the go-ahead and saying that you guys are going to be able to finally create whatever change has possibly been on your mind. Then on the 14th, you're going to have the sun make an opposition to Neptune. So this is going to be a time that could be a little bit frustrating for a sun in Virgo, especially a sun in the 6th house, because this is a strong work-oriented energy. This is a time, again, when we want to be productive. We want to get our hours in. We want to keep a schedule. And when the sun is opposite Neptune on the 14th, it can kind of slow us down. It can make us a little bit more groggy, a little bit more tired, and it can just kind of take away or zap away some of the energy that was originally dedicated to that area of our lives. So if around the middle of the month you feel the need to rest a little bit more, just know that that's normal around this time and not to push yourself to the limits, but to use your schedule to create or carve out time for rest. On the 16th, the sun is going to make a trine to Pluto. So this is going to be really helpful in the sense that it's going to empower you and to be more ambitious in your career. So if you've been wanting to take a step up, up the hierarchy, up the ladder, or you want to ask for a raise, or you want to, pursue something that feels slightly out of reach, having the sun trine Pluto is really beautiful to support that, because not only does it create more magnetism in your goals and your desires, but it also creates the drive. So you're going to have a little bit more tenacity and to go after what you want and to see it through from start to finish. And I do feel like the first half of the month from when the sun is in the 6th house, not really when the sun is opposing Neptune on the 14th, but pretty much the other days surrounding that, before it moves into the 7th, you're going to experience a lot of momentum with this Chariot card. I feel like the 6th house can create this sense of busyness, like this, the 3rd house. They both have this kind of preoccupation with details, with getting things done and being really productive. And so I think that this Chariot card is telling me that you're going to be really dedicated to what you're doing, and you're going to have a lot of forward momentum or forward progress on things that you've been putting effort into prior to this. And you're finally going to start to see some of those things kind of like click into place around your work, around your routine, and even around your health. So it's a really great time for you guys to focus on your health and well-being, eat well, be mindful of how much sleep you're getting. That type of thing is going to help you significantly. Then the sun is going to move into the 7th house, which is going to change the focus into your relationships, into your love life. So this is going to be on the 22nd of September, and you might feel this shift. It depends on which housing system you use. And if you want to look at this in your personal chart, I highly recommend joining the North Node Society so that you can learn how to actually see when this shifts houses for you. But if you're using whole sign houses, then on the 22nd, it will move into your 7th house, and that's focusing on love. So if you are in love, if you are in a relationship, this is your time to put energy towards building that, especially on the 29th when the sun makes a trine to Saturn. I definitely feel like this is going to bring some level of commitment, and I feel like authenticity to the relationship, where you guys are willing to work harder or put more effort into the people that you're around. And, you know, there's no love without effort. There's no love without work. Or I guess I shouldn't say love, but maybe relationships. So I feel like it's just going to draw your attention to that area of your life on the 29th. Okay, let's talk a little bit about Mercury. So Mercury is the planet of thinking, communication, and so wherever Mercury goes, our mind follows. So for you guys, Mercury is going to be in Libra in the 7th house of relationships, and this is going to happen until November 5th. So it's going to be hanging out in here for a long time. So I think that's part of the reason why I chose this love card, because love might be on your mind a little bit more this month and next month than it usually is. If it's not love, it could be working with business partners. It could be focusing on any kind of relationship you have with people. There is just more kind of love in the air when it comes to having planets move through the 7th house. You're just focused on others and cultivating those relationships and how you feel about them. So for you guys, Mercury is going to be trining Saturn until the 4th of the month. So you're going to be experiencing, again, this kind of level of commitment around relationships, asking yourself where you want to put more effort in, where you want to make sacrifices to see someone, or to be around someone, or you want to just kind of step up a level in whatever relationships you're thinking about, and show up with a level of effort and diligence, and again, commitment. So I feel like that's going to be a theme for you guys. This could come in any relationships. It doesn't just have to be partnerships, but there is some kind of desire here to create something solid, or to I guess add depth to what already exists in your life within your relationships. On the 20th of the month, Mercury is going to trine Jupiter. So to me, this is a really beautiful time when you're experiencing harmony in your relationships. You're feeling much more social. You're feeling that the people that you meet and the conversations that you have with those people, the ability to connect, just flows. So if you have a difficult conversation that you want to have, this could possibly be a really good time for that. I am going to talk about Venus in a second, which is relationship focused, but having difficult conversations, or having any kind of conversations, or even just having ideas about how to work with someone in a different way, or to connect more with your clients, or to promote yourself, anything that involves human relations, communication, sharing ideas, teaching, all those things are going to be easily facilitated at this time. It's going to feel like it flows and you're supported by the universe. Just 2 days later, Mercury is going to make a square to Pluto. This is when we can start seeing more intensity come up in our communication and in our understanding with one another. This is when people are trying to force ideas down your throat, or when they want you to believe something specific, or there is some kind of control or manipulation that can come through, even unknowingly on both parties, through communication. So in terms of having like good conversations that flow easily. The few days before this are going to be much better, but then once it hits the 22nd, it's going to feel like there's a rawness to it. Everyone might be a little bit more on edge, a little bit more defensive, or a little bit more pushy. There can be this desire to really find out what's true for you, what's true for that person. And so if you're having any kind of like skeptical thoughts about a specific person or relationship, the 22nd is going to be a good day to kind of get down to the bottom of why you feel that way. What is that off kind of gut feeling telling you? Because there might be something deeper there. On the 27th, Mercury is going to go retrograde in your 7th house. So whenever Mercury goes retrograde, it's a time for us to revisit something from the past, to re-examine some aspect of our life, which for you is around relationships. So I kind of like that this Mercury square Pluto is coming before the retrograde, because it's giving you guys an opportunity to become introspective around your relationship patterns and around the people that you surround yourself with. And then when Mercury goes retrograde, you can start to go back and revisit some of those patterns and make adjustments to your life, make adjustments to the people that you surround yourself with, so that you have a different way of approaching things so that it ultimately feels healthy when Mercury does go direct. So you guys are being asked to really kind of dive deeper into your connection with others through the month of September. Now let's talk a little bit about Mars. So you guys are having Mars in Virgo in your 6th house. And on the 14th of the month, it's moving into Libra in your 7th house. Again, this is a heavy focus on work and then relationships. So Mars is a planet of energy, of activation, of drive, and even of sex, your sex drive, your work drive, everything that is comprised kind of like of our battery power as a person. So you have the month pretty divided. Half of the month is focused on work, health, routine, focusing on yourself, focusing on your needs and how you can best show up as a dedicated person to the things that you've committed yourself to. And then on the 14th, it will shift into the 7th house, where you will start to feel your focus more drawn to relationships, seeking out other people, trying to understand other people. I guess Mars is not really the best at understanding. Actually, you might find the opposite, because Mars can bring a little bit of fiery nature, and it can often divide people. So sometimes you might find that in the second half of the month, with the square between Mercury and Pluto, with Mercury going retrograde, and then with Mars moving into the 7th house, if there are existing issues in relationships at that time, you're going to feel them exacerbated. You're going to feel like fights are more easily coming up, especially around the 22nd. When Mercury is squaring Pluto, you're going to feel like some of those things are going to bubble to the surface, and any existing divides or fissures between you and that person will deepen or will become more apparent and more obvious. And when Mercury goes retrograde on the 27th, you can start to create change around those relationships. So having Mars in Virgo the first half of your month in your 6th house is good and bad, because on one hand, I love Mars in the 6th house because it gives us some of that drive to put towards our work. That anger, that aggression, when it's all that animal instinct, all of our inner power, when it's directed towards a purpose, can be very healthy, very productive for our lives. However, on the 1st of the month, Mars is opposite Neptune, which is a very spiritual aspect of ourselves. So it can kind of feel like, on one hand, we want to be really driven, we want to get things done, the desire is there, but then on the other hand, we can feel like our energy is more drawn within. We can feel like we want to rest, because how do you connect with spirit? You have to be in a pause mode. You have to be in rest. So there can be this feeling of this back and forth of like, I'm not doing enough, I'm not getting enough done, I'm not where I want to be. And it can sometimes lead to this feeling of burnout or of frustration if you try to push. So what I would suggest is just really work intuitively around the 1st of the month, instead of trying to, be ultra productive, because it's not in the cards for that period of time. On the 6th of the month, Mars is trining Pluto. On the 25th of the month, Mars is trining Saturn. So pretty much after that first week, after those first few days, you're good to go when it comes to putting energy into things again. You're not going to have Pluto there hampering you as much and drawing your energy down as much. So, like that second week, you're going to feel like you can power through. You're much more in the zone with the Mars trying to Pluto. It's almost like this obsessive focus that you can get things done. Everything else kind of blurs out around you, and you can sit and work at something for extended periods of time. So the universe is kind of gifting us with this period of rest followed by this period of exertion. So use this energy and this time wisely for your own benefit. On the 25th, Mars is already going to be in the 7th house of relationships, and that's when Mars trines Saturn. So this is when it can kind of see endings happening. If there were things that were meant to be broken, if there were already fissures existing between you and someone else, this could be that final blow, that final level of commitment where you're committing to be with someone and be a good person and be in that relationship and yada yada, improve your relationship, or you commit to not being with that person. You commit to making changes. You commit to trying to find other healthier, stronger relationships. Mars and Saturn are both the malefic planets. They're both challenging planets. They don't have to always be challenging, but sometimes paired together, they can represent an irritation. Even though they're in a trine, even though they're in positive aspect with each other, it doesn't always mean that the result is going to feel really positive in our life. I do think when it's a positive aspect, it's likely going to be productive, or the end outcome is meant to be productive rather than just knocking you down. But I feel like at the same time, it doesn't always imply that the commitment is going to be finding someone new and getting into a relationship, although that is possible. But I kind of wouldn't recommend getting into a new relationship at this time, if I'm being honest. And that's because with Mercury retrograding in your 7th house, it's almost like you're taking an opportunity where you're meant to be reflecting on past partners and fixing issues with them. And then utilizing that wisdom when Mercury goes direct to find someone that aligns with your new self. So you would really be misusing that period of time for like trying to find someone new during a period of reflection. I hope that makes sense, because that would be, I guess, disappointing in a way. Let's talk more about relationships, because you guys have Venus in your 7th house of relationships. And then on the 10th of the month, it's moving into Scorpio, where it will be in your 8th house of shared resources, vulnerability, intimacy, debt, insecurity, things like this. So first of all, having Venus in your 7th house in Libra for the first 10 days of the month is very positive. I can see again why I pulled this love sign or card, because I think ultimately Venus in Libra is just so beautiful. Venus in your 7th house is so beautiful. It makes you feel, it gives you the sense of satisfaction in relationships that kind of can elude us at other times. It gives us this feeling of gratefulness, of harmony, of cohesion with the people around us. So the first half of the month, I feel like, is going to be good in that sense. Like, I think you're going to feel like things are going well. Then it's going to move into the 8th house on the 10th of the month. So the last 20 days of the month, you're going to be focused more on your ability to really relate to people and let your guards down. So sometimes this can bring up, I guess it depends on what personal issues you have regarding relationships. But Venus in Scorpio tends to make us a little bit more withdrawn, a little bit more protective of ourselves, a little bit more secretive. And so even though the relationship is still a focus, it's almost like you are the biggest focus of the relationship. Your ability to open up, your ability to understand someone, your ability to go deep. It could also be completely related to money. If you are I guess investing in something, or you are trying to pay off debt, this is kind of a good time to do that in a sense, because Venus is related to money. It can kind of boost whatever actions you are taking regarding money at that time. So before Venus moves into the 8th house, when it's in the 7th house of relationships, on the 5th and the 6th, it's going to be making a square to Pluto and then a trine to Jupiter. So this is really interesting, because these are very different energies. Venus squaring Pluto can bring up a lot of jealousy, can bring up a lot more like controlling issues. You can start to see the shadows from relationships kind of come up. And so it can also ask you to kind of create some change if you feel like some of those shadows are meant to be left behind or whatever. I feel like you're going to finally maybe realize that on the 22nd when Mercury squares Pluto as well. So it's like the instances are coming up in the beginning of the month, but I feel like the energy is relatively good, that you're not going to maybe necessarily see everything that needs to be changed quite right away. I mean, maybe not, because you also have your sun trending Uranus. Sorry, I'm like arguing with myself. It's hard to say, but basically at the beginning of the month, it's possible to see some people pushing your buttons or some issues come to the surface that have long been submerged. The day after that, you have Venus trining Jupiter, so it's almost like you have this higher perspective or higher wisdom around any of the events that just happened, and you have this awareness of where things are meant to go, whether that's, you know, improving what you currently have, getting rid of it, finding something new, whatever it is around your relationships, you're going to start to just like have wisdom about that situation, and it's going to improve it. It's going to alleviate any discomfort from it. So I really like that. Venus trining Jupiter is one of the most positive aspects in the sky, and to have a difficult one right before that is basically saying that this is like the remedy. This is the cure that can be related to issues regarding relationships. Okay, Venus moving into the 8th house on the 10th is going to be followed shortly after by Venus making a square to Saturn on the 17th. So this can create this feeling of distance, this feeling of separation. And it's interesting having the 8th house where you're supposed to be coming together at this time. You're supposed to be like one with that person and intimate with that person and understand that person, whether that's a friend, a family member, a partner. There's someone that you're meant to be getting to know on a deeper level, but this square here is you kind of pulling back. It's you maybe feeling unsafe or having things from the past come up or insecurities come up that create a little bit of a wall, a little bit of a block, and it can make you feel like money is scarce as well. So be really careful about what you're investing in with Venus and moving into the 8th house. I think before I just encouraged investing, but around the 17th, around the 23rd, actually I would just say don't invest at that time. Don't spend too much, because I think there are multiple things indicating some kind of like volatility or instability or scarcity in finances. So if you feel like your relationships, you want to kind of pull away around that time, or you feel like money is a little bit scarce at that time, that's kind of, you know, pro quo for that moment. So on the 23rd, just a few days later, you'll also have Venus in the 8th house opposing Uranus in your 2nd house. This can create, so if you felt weighed down or constricted by this relationship on the 17th when Venus squared Saturn, then on the 23rd, you're going to desire a sense of freedom. You're going to want to create a change in that relationship, or you're going to want to have some excitement come up in the relationship to release any kind of feeling of stuckness that you could have. So this is a time when things might feel really exciting, really volatile, when change is likely to happen to both finances and relationships. So just be extra careful if you are investing or if you're looking at debt and things like that, that you're not making any choices that could have, could affect you negatively in your life, because it is going to be more volatile. You can't trust the current environment. On the 29th, Venus will make a trine to Neptune. So this is when things are going to start to reharmonize. You're going to start to feel like your relationships, after you've implemented any of those changes, after you've gained the sense of freedom from those changes, you're going to feel like things calm down, like things are starting to improve. And on the 30th, when Venus squares Jupiter, you're going to be feeling much more social, much happier, but you're also going to be more likely to be more spendthrift and to be a little bit more gluttonous. So you might overeat, you might overspend, and focus more on like drinking and socializing, doing whatever pleases you. So take advantage of that time, but don't overdo it, because that is a possibility. And then I just wanted to mention super quickly, we're going to have 2 moons. You're going to have a new moon in your 6th house of work, in Virgo. So this is a new beginning around your health, around your routines, around your work. So if you want to change in that, you'll have an opportunity around September 6th of this month. And then on the 20th, you're going to have a full moon in Pisces, which is in your 12th house. And so this month, you're going to get a little bit more of a feeling of closure, of endings. So this can be a much more emotional time, a time when you want to spend a little bit more time introspective or being alone, connecting with your soul and kind of deciding what you want to release so that you can feel like you can process hardship and emotions and everything related to these changes in your relationships with a lot more ease. So that is what I'm seeing for you guys, Aries and Aries rising. If this resonates, please like and comment down below. And I hope you have such a beautiful day. Bye.